welcome to another episode of Your Career Success. I've got an incredible episode for you today. I'm joined by Margot Blanc, female founder of Byosen, and this is part of our Startup Spotlight series where we're really shining a light on female founders, their entrepreneurial journey, their inspiring stories, the highs and lows, and everything in between. So thank you so much for joining me today, Margot. We've known each other a little while, so I'm really pleased that you said you'd do this for me. Really looking forward to deep diving into your journey and your incredible business that is Byosen.
Thank you, Suzanne. It's my pleasure to be part of this. We've known each other, as you said, for a few years, and we've met through Microsoft for Startups program, where you get assigned to a mentor, and Suzanne is my mentor. So she's been specifically helping with a lot of the project planning and a few Excel spreadsheets that we spent quite some time on, but it's been really exciting. So thank you for having me.
It has. We've looked at your vision, your strategy, you're raising funds. There's so many exciting things that are happening in your business, Margot. So you've got a medtech company called Byosen. Tell us a little bit about your business and what inspired you to start it. What's your why and your mission that you're on with this business?
Byosen is a wearable patch that continuously measures clinically biomarkers that have been proven with prolonged stress and depression. The mission behind this is for you to notice how you're feeling in order to change your response to reaction. So say during the day, you're faced to situation and moments that feel overwhelming. And it's those times that usually in people who suffer from depression and anxiety have a lot of difficulty to notice how they're feeling and respond better instead of making it grow more and more, the symptoms burden. So that's what we can do here. What's really incredible with new sensors today, we get to understand your stress response to situation. And also we get to understand the intensity of positive and negative emotion that you're feeling. So that's a little bit about what we're doing, and we're helping you in order to make your life easier through understanding what you're feeling and how should I respond to that.
It's an incredible business, and we've been working together for a while now, and I've said to you all along, you're on such a mission with it. It's going to change people's lives. It's just absolutely incredible. So what is your why behind that? What's the real area of passion for you that makes you jump out of bed? And because being an entrepreneur and running a startup is it's the hardest thing, isn't it? It'd be much easier to go and get a 9-to-5. So there's some passion, deep-rooted passion there, that of why you're doing this. So tell us about that.
As you said, it started with really deep passion. When you just want to research something all of the time, and you can spend all of your day doing that without thinking of, should I get money out of this, or is this going to change that? No, it's thinking of, how is this changing myself, and therefore could impact other people going through something similar. And usually it's something you're deeply close to, that is something really of an issue to you, and you think you're the only one, but maybe perhaps you're not. So I struggled with, and also my mother, and seeing her with ups and downs during the day. And then I came across through several different things, starting with 10 days of silence, which is Vipassana, which I do 1 time per year, where they give you a technique we call meditation. But meditation is actually some very specific mental steps to follow and to apply in moments of overwhelmment. And this technique was quite different than what I've seen before. Okay, pay attention to what you feel, what you notice, and that's how it will go away, instead of reacting with craving, aversion, or ignorance. Learn to respond. What does that mean, to not react? How do we actually do that? And that's where the work comes in. So after that, I created a little alphabet where each symbol corresponds to a different aspect of your mental health. with scientific tools that have been proven to increase it and to optimize it. So I've been applying it to myself. And when you come to something where you really feel this is it, as an insight, it keeps coming back. You can find it in different of your research or different parts. And then you want to make something out of it. And you feel like, what's going to happen with this insight? And I'm not an engineer. I had a mental health business type of upbringing, and I studied business innovation entrepreneurship. I went to work for a little time at a VC firm, but I always knew that what I was really deeply passionate about was this specific subject in what we call mental health, but more specifically was a scientific understanding of when I'm feeling overwhelmed, how do I respond to that? How do I not, instead of reacting? And so when I learned this, and I was just so deeply passionate about it, and then we correlated that with the technology of today. How do you sense this? It was just an openness of how is this happening today in comparison to where we want it to be. So starting from what exists, which sensors are there, and then we started doing a little bit of work. But it started myself. So I started doing the work. And then I met along the way people who were in different expertise, but already working on it in different parts of the world. And so we connected. It wasn't part of a university, it wasn't part of work, it wasn't part of friends, it was purely professional. So my why to answer the question is really, I found something that changed my life. There's some people today who are living without knowing this is a possibility. We were not taught this in school. We were not taught this by psychologists or psychiatrists. And so that's why I will be continuing to do this for probably at least the next 10 years.
I mean, I've always said I love that you're coming from a place of service, and your own personal journey as well is just absolutely incredible. I feel the same about my startup mentoring. I absolutely love it. I wish I could do it full time, all day, every day. It's something I'm incredibly passionate about. And the same with your career success. I feel the same about that. I'm really coming from a place of the money side of it is not the driver. It's more coming from a place of service where I want to make impact on other women's lives. So you've got an incredible business there, and I'm really excited to be part of it with you and go on this journey alongside. It's just amazing to see. Let's talk a little bit about your journey so far. Just take us back to the early stage. It's up to you. Do you want to start where you are now and work back? Do you want to start at the start? Where do you want to go with it?
What would you like to know?
Just a little bit about when you had the original idea, how you initiated the business, and then what journey you've been on over the last few years. And then we'll talk a little bit about your future goals, your aspirations, what amazing big things are out there for you and Byosen. But let's start with, how did we get here and where we started?
So first things that came to mind, how did we come here? I feel it's thanks to other people, to the team members that are putting together the work. And it's incredible having these people together and moving forwards. That how it started, there's like the real, incorporation date when we incorporated the company, but then it started before that when we went back to the researching and experimentation of your own life. And then you're not doing it because you feel it's going to be something. You're doing it because you have to do it, because it's so interesting, it's so intriguing to you. And so it's like creativity, something, then you do it, and you can put, as we said, a lot of time in it. And then I was introduced to first co-founder, and then that's when with her experience at Google and my experience with the mental health, we decided to incorporate it. So in the early days, we had no idea of what we were doing in comparison to people who've really thought this through, having a concrete plan. We were doing it as it was happening. There was not a lot of preparation. And after incorporating the company, we followed the steps we needed in order to get our first prototype. And what would that look like? Bringing together some people and going through some incubators where we started at Station F, and then they go through their program that they bring you some of kind of key things that VC recommend, tell you that you need to have in a company, and you'll have some help to get that sorted. So with the business planning and kind of some or more operational tasks that have to go along, as well as all that the other contrast of experimentation, which is okay, going testing your idea on actual users, going speaking to different people. So what you're most good at, you'll gravitate towards that, I suppose.
Let me ask you, what I'm going to ask you two questions now, a positive and like a negative. So what do you find the hardest thing about running and setting up this business? So if one thing was going to keep you up at night, what would it be?
The hardest thing about, for me personally, running this is when you feel you have so many things to do in order to get to your end goal, and you know there's many things, but when I catch myself thinking too much about the future or worrying about the things that I have not done right, I'm less, this overwhelm me sometimes, and it will be very quite something stressful. But then how I decide to respond to that is like, all right, that's quite positive having a lot to do, but let's focus on one thing at a time, because I can't do many things at the same time. So on the operational side, making sure that the way you're doing the things you have to do is the efficient way. Because some people, it will take them too long to do some things that just a different startup will have done very quickly. And this can be on the engineering side, on the operational side, on the leader side. It's all about going back to first principles, and then starting your way up from there. So that's something that would keep me up at night, yes. But then quickly afterwards, the quicker you're able to catch yourself with that, and okay, I notice it. And then if you come back to whatever is coming here, then you'll be able to set a time and do things quicker.
I agree. I think prioritization and knowing what to focus on and what's going to move the needle in your business is really key. And from working with you, I totally agree that you've got that nailed, absolutely nailed. So any little bit of overwhelm that comes in, which for entrepreneurs and career women, it's commonplace. Everybody gets overwhelmed. But I do think you've really nailed how to handle that in your business, certainly from what I've seen. And you're really good from a leadership perspective on giving clarity to your team as well. So everyone knows what the areas of focus are. And you really bring people together as well, which is an incredible trait of a leader.
Thank you. That's very
Skilled
beautiful.
servant leader.
Yeah.
Of all the positives then of running and starting Byosen, what's the one thing that you've enjoyed the most, either a reoccurring thing or a one-off thing? What's the one thing that jumps out and you think, this is it, this is why I'm doing this?
Seeing other people getting so happy about what you are and you were most happy of, and being them so happy about working on it and working together. And when they work together, and let's say you're in a meeting and then there's this problem that comes up, and seeing how they take this problem and they find solutions that are really out of the box, and you see them work together well on it, that has brought me the most profound experience so far internally in the team. And of course, when we talk to end patients and when I see them, okay, in this moment of overwhelmment, if I had this is how I would be. It's really profound.
It is really powerful, isn't it? Being able to have the tools to be able to take hold and take control of your own mental health is so powerful for an individual. And I think your wearable patch is it is going to absolutely change lives. It's so cutting edge. I've said all along, I'm going to be one of the first customers, definitely.
Yeah, and there are a lot of wearables for measuring stress today, for heart variability measurement, and how they sometimes will stimulate either the brain waves or the skin through haptic vibration, which is really great. And it's fantastic that we see wearables going in this direction. And it's going to be really interesting when we get some good software and when we're able to see, all right, what does that mean? It's not only stress, it's not physiological stress, but have a look at how they notice in different emotion. Is this person anxious, stressed, and the different types of all of those positive and negative emotion that exist, and being able to notice what triggers that and how is this person going to manage their reactions towards that instead of spiking, like your glucose was spiking, and how do we come back to baseline. And with sleep, people now, we know with wearables that measure and give you advice on your sleep, people are sleeping longer and deeper by wearing them. And it goes the same with the CGM, continuous glucose monitoring. People now know exactly what food are right for them to eat. So what we're going to see in the more on the medical side, especially for patients in the emotional behavioral health, is going to be very interesting to see what happens there.
It is, absolutely. In terms of where your business is at the moment and your current stage of your business, should we talk a little bit about that? And then what are your future goals? What's in the short term for Byosen? So let's talk a little bit about that. So where are you at with your current journey versus what's next? That was a long-winded question that I gave you there.
I love it. So first things first, as we know, there's many different types of prototypes, especially in hardware, and you have these really big, like generation 1, and then you see all the way up to the one that went to market that's quite small. And that with the COVID testing and so many devices today, most of them had to go through many different types. So on that scale, we're quite on the very first big one that's plugged into machine, that's semi-functional, of the shelf equipments. And what's next in this short term, what we like to say, is a functional prototype that's on body and that can functionalize measurements in regards to the comparison of how you test certain hormone and nervous systems ways today. And sensors, they work very well in vitro, what we call, but as soon as you put it on the body, that's where you have different types of results. So it's going to be short term, but it's a critical period. If we get this one well, it will bring us to the next part of the question, which is long-term goal. Long-term goal, FDA approval, and number one way to quantify and measure your stress today.
It's incredible. So exciting. Like I say, I feel really grateful to be on this journey with you. In the time that we've been working together, I've seen your business go from real starting initiation stage, and now you're at prototype stage. Functional prototype is next, like you say. It's there are big things happening. It's so exciting, and yeah, I'm living my entrepreneurial journey through you, Margo.
It's so exciting to work with other people. And it's so exciting just to work with other people on something that you love so much, and you get to meet other people and work together. It's such a privilege to be able to do this.
Yeah, I agree, definitely. Okay, brilliant. Let's talk about tips for success. I really like this question. So in your journey so far, if you were to call out 3 things that you feel have helped you the most get to this point so far, what would they be? It could be anything. It could be daily habits. It could be anything. What are the top 3 things for you?
Well, the first thing is this might sound a little bit controversial, but the first thing that came to my mind when you said this question is when I just listened to myself, when I wanted to do what I wanted to do, and I knew what I wanted to do without listening to the judgment or what other people could say or what they wanted me to do. When I just listened, and I knew when you just know something, like really strong intuition, just listen to yourself and go full on with that. And see yourself Objectively meaning not taking it personally. Oh, if this person would do that, like putting yourself quite a distance between you and your feelings and what you're thinking. So letting me do what I just wanted to do and research and bring that helped me the most in the beginning. Second of all, what helped me the most is me having a strong foundation of the mental health. Okay, how disciplined mentally are you? Can you go through things and stay very calmly? Can you excel in what you're doing? So keeping in check, we're having a very strong and firm baseline there. So when we say stay in your line, and you just stay in your line and you're doing that. And then the third point is my support around me. And by that, I mean my parents, my friends, and especially like what's linked as well to technology, the support I have from that, from the people I connect to it through technology. Without them, I would have been unable to have this healthy environment where you're not in your comfort zone because you want to be doing something, as you say, it's quite very difficult. So you're outside of your comfort zone. And even if people tend to like that, it's important. What has helped me the most in this time is knowing who's here with me in this. Who can I go to and have those people you just go to, and in this conversation afterwards, you're lift up. And that's been my three things that worked personally the most for me in the beginning.
Brilliant. I think they're great. I love the one around your intuition and knowing, just
Yes.
betting on yourself. I think that's a great one. You're the first person actually to say that answer, and I really resonate with that. I think it's a great answer. I think I would say that if I was asked this question.
Okay. You're quite someone who's very, you're bold as well. You're bold, so you would be someone who already listens to it. From what I'm feeling, if you want something, you quite get there.
Yeah, I think I would describe myself as someone who I will take time over a decision, but when I make it, and a lot of people perceive that I make very risk-based, they think I'm high risk, they think that I'll make a snap decision. Actually, it's not. I'll have thought about it and internalized it for quite a period, and I'll go on my own intuition, like you say. And from the outside, it looks like I've made that decision like in a snap second without any thought. But actually, for me, I've processed it, and I know at that point I'll make that decision and then there's no going back. So I am quite a risk taker. I guess I am bold in that way. But
I love that.
I do believe in informed decision making, but I don't like to spend too much time thinking over it. I'll go with, if I feel something's right and I feel like I've done just enough research and risk assessment, then I'll go for it and I'll just be like, we're doing it.
Yeah. It's quite something to take fast decisions like that. Okay, this, no, yes, no. That's something as a founder, I suppose you'd have to do. Your ability to make good decisions is the number one. So you're touching point on a very important topic here.
Fast decisions, ability to pivot, fail fast. A lot of people have said to me about some of the decisions I've made along my journey. They've been like, you're not sticking it out. Like, I can remember going back to when I was like 19 years old. I had been in a role for 12 months and I got offered a new role in a bigger organisation, a well-known organisation, which would have looked great on the CV, but that wasn't the reason why I took the role. It was a great challenge. And when I left my current company and I put my notice in, my line manager at the time said, you're just going to come across really fleeting, that you don't stick at anything. And I said, that's not my approach. My approach then and even now is I get in there. I want to get in there quick. I want to learn the lessons. I want to just dive deep and get what I can out of that opportunity so that I'm learning as quickly as possible. It needs to be like a fast learning journey for me. And I think that's why being an entrepreneur and running your own business is a really good fit for me, because there's no bigger personal development journey, is there, than running your own business, and the pace that you have to learn everything. And like you said earlier, the you have to do everything in your business, particularly at the start, because you don't have a team on board. If you can have a team, amazing. But even with a team, you're still wearing so many hats. So I do credit a lot of the way that I think back to even when I was permanent in my early 20s. I worked in a startup from age 24 to 26. And that's where I really cut my teeth. And it was, even looking back in my whole career history now, I credit that as one of the most exciting times, just being in that dynamic environment and being given an opportunity to just lean into everything, having autonomy, and you're just rolling your sleeves up and trying everything to see what works. The lessons that come from that, they're really fast and they're incredible, and they'll shape you for your future. They shaped me. And it's the same with any business you run, isn't it? So with Byosen and with the businesses I've been involved in, the personal development journey that has come from those, I find it really exciting.
Yeah.
I love stepping outside of my comfort zone.
Yeah. And as you very well said, now you want fast experience and you want it from an early age. You want to expose yourself to things that will make you learn enormous levels of learning and acquire this knowledge that you'll be able to reapply. Before, it was very common to say 10 to 20 years in the same job and be very happy with it and go up the hierarchy, which is quite attractive with what it is. Now we have more and more people who actually know they want to do more and do many different things with their career. So they'll stay not at all like a long time, and they'll change very rapidly to something totally different, which is a change in what we see. And it brings a lot of more creativity and more doing on what we're more intrigued to do and what we feel that I can actually bring a change to.
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree. You just think as an entrepreneur, you say yes to things. Either you speak the yes or you say it in your head, and then you think, I have no clue how I'm going to actually deliver that, but we'll just make it work. And then you find a way. Everything has got a resolution, hasn't it? You find a way through everything. It might be quick, it might take you a little bit longer, but there's a path through every challenge. I do believe that. I think with the right support and the ability to ask curious questions, you'll get to the answer and you'll blast your way through every challenge. You just got to not give up.
You're never ready for anything. That big meeting that's coming up or that big presentation, I need to prepare more. Obviously, the more prepared, the better you'll do, but you're just not ready for it. Then you have to do it now.
I totally agree. Just throw yourself in there outside of your comfort zone. In fact, I love just looking for opportunities to throw myself outside of my comfort zone, just to test my own capability. My whole mission now in my 40s is about seeing what I can achieve, like what's possible, unlocking my own. It's part of the show. It's one of the reasons why I set it up, because I want to help other women do the same. It's unlock your potential. What is the limit of our potential? And I don't think I've tapped into mine. I want to see how far I can push myself. That's like my new mission now, to see. I don't want to burn out and cause any issues, but for me, I want to really just see how far I can push my capability and just smash through any glass ceilings that I've previously self-imposed on myself. So.
And you've never arrived. When you start that road, it never stops. So you can always do better, and it's like, yes, you're discovering yourself, but how disciplined can you be along the way and finding it step by step? Because once you start, it's a long journey.
One step at a time. I think for me as well, I believe that little steps do compound over time, definitely. And I just look for any opportunity to compound something. The little steps just can make big leaps in the end. If you just keep going and keep chipping away, you'll get there. Yeah. Oh, amazing. I love this conversation. Right then, final question, Margo. So if you could go back and talk to your younger self and give her one piece of advice that you think would be most impactful, and you can go back at any point in your life, what advice would you give her to help her on her journey and stop her, I guess, making some of the mistakes that you made. We all make mistakes. If there's anything that jumps out that you'd want to help her avoid, the most impactful piece of advice.
So the greatest piece of advice that I would give my younger self, if I was starting now, or I would, when you're interested in so many different things and you come up with different ideas on a daily basis, and this is just part of who you are, narrow it down on something very specific. Because I was, trying to many different things, being interested in so many different things, reading this, reading that, and trying to go to the end of it and being so passionate. And the earlier you find your niche, it will make you be able to spend more time on what you're actually supposed to do. And some people take time to they let themselves try as many things as they want, which is fantastic. But that would be a piece of advice. I would be like, okay, focus. This is exactly what you like. Okay, what specifically is that niche? And get to that. Find that insight that applies to you and other people earlier. And I didn't care about the labels. So if a woman is supposed to do that, remove that. Remove the labels, and also the word entrepreneur or whatever. That should be obsolete for your mission of just bringing something to the world that's bringing value to the system of how it is today in order to increase that.
Amazing. I love that. Great. Thank you so much for being part of this. I've loved speaking to you about your journey. I found out some bits that I didn't know, which is great. Even though we've known each other so long, I found out quite a lot about you today, which is really nice. I've loved it. Thank you so much for being part of the show. I can't wait to share the links to Byosen so people watching can find out more. We'll make sure we include all of the website links and anything else, just so you can deep dive into Margot's business. And please do watch on the remainder of the journey. The prototype's on its way, and hopefully go to market not so long after. So thank you so much, Margot. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you, Suzanne, for this wonderful conversation and this wonderful show for your career success, which is a big step, and it's interesting. So I look forward to seeing what's going to come out of it.